Welcome back. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most foundational ideas in all of Kabbalah. This concept that all of reality is built in layers, that there's this hidden kernel of truth, what's called the Moach, and it's surrounded by these protective and sometimes concealing shells or klipotes. This is the hidden architecture of everything. So let's get into it. So let's start with a really simple, powerful image. What if the entire universe, what if reality itself, wasn't just some random chaotic explosion of stuff, but was actually structured with the same intelligence as a piece of fruit? You know, you've got the outer skin, the peel, but as you go deeper, you find layer after layer, all protecting this central seed, a kernel that contains the entire blueprint for what that thing is. Well, this isn't just a metaphor. According to the mystics, this is literally a map of reality.
So here's our roadmap for the journey today. First, we'll look at our world as just the outermost shell. Then we'll define exactly what the kernel and its layers are. We'll ask the big question, why is it all hidden in the first place? And then we'll get practical. How do we break through these levels? How do we refine the shells to finally find that divine light that's hidden inside absolutely everything?
Okay, so let's begin right where we are, with our everyday reality. The world we see, the world we touch and hear and interact with. It's not the whole story. Not even close. According to this ancient wisdom, what we think of as reality is just the surface. It's the outermost peel of a structure that goes so much deeper and is infinitely more complex. And this idea is ancient. This quote from the Zohar talking about Adam and Eve is really the master key to understanding this whole thing. It says that originally, humanity's connection to reality was through what it calls garments of light. Think of that, a direct, almost translucent perception of the divine essence in everything. But after the sin, that perception was swapped out for garments of skin, a thick, opaque physical layer. Our bodies, the physical world itself, became a kind of covering that now hides the very light that once shone right through it. And you have to understand, this isn't just a story about something that happened a long time ago. This is the living, breathing architecture of reality right now. Every single object, every event, every person has this dual structure. An inner spiritual life force and an outer physical form that both expresses that life force and, at the same time, conceals it. Okay, so let's get the official terms on the table. To really navigate this map of reality, we need to define the two fundamental components, the actual cosmic blueprint. First up, we have the Moach. Now, the word literally means brain, and that's a great way to think about it. It's the inner intelligence, the kernel, the absolute core essence of a thing. This is pure, unfiltered, unadulterated, divine light and consciousness. This is the source code of existence. It's the why behind everything. And then, wrapping around that moach, you have the klipa. This literally means a shell or a husk. This is the outer form, the physical vessel we see. But, and this is so important, it's not just a dumb barrier. The klipa has this incredible, crucial dual function. On the one hand, it conceals the infinite intensity of that inner light, but on the other, it also protects it and gives it a stable form so it can actually manifest in our finite world. This chart just lays out that core duality perfectly, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the Moach. That's the inner reality, the essence, the unbounded light, the holiness. It's the ultimate why. And on the other side, you got the klipa. That's the outer form, the vessel, the container or filter, the concealment. It's the how of manifestation. Everything you've ever interacted with is a combination of these two forces. Okay, let's really try to picture this. I want you to visualize this with me. Imagine, at the absolute center of all existence, there's a single dimensionless point. That's the Moach. And it is pure, infinite, incandescent light. It's the source of all life, all consciousness, radiating out in all directions. Now, wrapped around that glowing core is the very first shell, the first klipa. But this layer isn't dark or opaque at all. Think of it more like a translucent, crystalline sphere. It doesn't block the light, but it begins the process of filtering it, of modulating its infinite intensity, giving that raw energy its first little hint of structure. As we move out from the center, the next layer forms. This one is more opaque, maybe like frosted glass. It conceals the source even more, and this is where separation really begins. This is the layer that allows distinct individual forms to start to emerge. That unified glow now becomes a collection of individual points of light. And then finally, we get to the outermost layer, and this is the klipa that you and I experience as the physical world. This is the hard, dark shell of the nut. It almost completely hides the light burning inside. And its function is twofold. It protects the unbelievably sacred and delicate interior, but it also presents a completely normal, mundane, even boring exterior to the world. This is our world of garments of skin. You know, this whole idea naturally leads to a huge question. If the whole point is to connect with this incredible inner light, why go through all the trouble of hiding it? Why would a perfect, infinite source need to be wrapped up in so many layers of concealment? It just seems to make things harder. Seriously, it seems completely counterintuitive, right? Why build this elaborate system of shells? Well, the answer is just brilliant. It has to do with cosmic engineering. Believe it or not, the Talmud gives us this profound clue. It says that if an abundance of good, which is code for a direct, unfiltered flow of divine energy, is bestowed upon finite beings, they are literally unable to receive it. It would be like trying to plug a tiny little light bulb from your desk lamp directly into a nuclear power plant. The sheer, raw intensity would vaporize the vessel instantly. So you start to see that the shells aren't a flaw in the system. They're a necessary feature. They're not a bug. They act like these massive cosmic transformers, stepping down that infinite, boundless energy into manageable voltages so that a finite universe with finite creatures like us can actually exist without being completely shattered. Okay, so if this multi-layered cosmic structure is the world we live in, where do we fit in? What's our role in all of this? Well, we're not meant to be passive observers. The entire system is designed for us to actively engage with it. Our life's work is essentially a quest to journey inward, from that hard outer shell all the way to the inner core. And this active, conscious work is called tikkun, which means rectification or repair. It's the spiritual practice of piercing through the klipot. It's about taking something mundane, something physical, the shell, and using it in such a way that it reveals the holy spark, the moach, that was giving it life all along. Now, to make this really concrete, let's use a modern analogy. Think about reality as this massive, multi-level video game. Each layer of existence is a new stage, a new level, and our whole quest is to break through to the final boss, which is direct perception of the divine core, the moach itself. So how do you play? Well, level 1 is you encountering the physical world. Now, your enemy isn't some monster, it's the concealment itself, the nature of the shell. So you develop a strategy. You use your spiritual tools, things like good deeds, prayer, simple awareness, to find the weak points, the cracks in the shell, and then break through. You pierce that layer, and suddenly you access the next, more luminous level inside, and you keep going until you finally reach the core. Okay, if the video game analogy doesn't quite click for you, how about this? For all the tech-minded people out there, think of reality as an incredibly sophisticated computer operating system. We, as users, only ever interact with the user interface, the screen. But there is a whole lot more going on beneath the surface. So in this model, the moach, the divine essence, that's your core processor, the raw, unbelievably powerful source of everything. The firmware, the BIOS, that's like the primordial laws of creation. Now the klipot, the shells, they are the layers of the operating system. They mediate access, they run processes, they manage all the resources. And what we see, the physical world, that's just the user interface. It's just the screen. So our spiritual work, tikkun, is basically like a holy form of hacking. We are trying to gain root access, to see past the pretty icons on the screen and understand the actual source code, the divine logic that's running the whole show. But here's a really important twist. The goal isn't always to just smash the shells, to use brute force. The work of tikkun is often way more subtle than that. It's about refinement. It's about transforming an opaque shell into a perfectly transparent lens. It's critical to understand that the klipot are not all the same. While some are considered completely dark and purely negative, there's one very special shell that can be redeemed, that can be purified. And this is the shell that corresponds to our world, the world of human action and, most importantly, human choice. It's called klipet noga, the radiant shell. Noga means a glow or a glimmer of light. And this shell is totally unique because it contains a mixture of both good and evil, light and darkness. This is the realm of everything in our world that's permissible but not inherently holy. Things like business, eating, technology, relationships. Our choices determine what this shell becomes. When we use these things for a higher, holy purpose, we actually refine Klipat Noga. We make it more transparent to the divine light shining from within. But when we use them for selfish or negative purposes, we thicken the shell, making it more opaque, hiding the light even more. And this is the ultimate vision. The prophet Isaiah describes this incredible future where the entire world, the nations and kings, which represent the outermost layers of reality, are actually drawn to and walk by the divine light that is finally fully revealed. So the goal of Tikkun isn't to destroy the world and escape it, it's to transform it, to refine this Klipat Noga so completely that the outer shell becomes a perfect, radiant vessel for the inner kernel. So, this brings us to the culmination of our whole journey. We've mapped the structure, we've understood its purpose, we've explored our active role in it. So what's the endgame? What is the final state of consciousness that we're all trying to achieve here? You see, the ultimate goal is not to escape the physical world, not to leave the shell behind. It's to achieve a state of unified perception where you see the kernel through the shell. It's to get to a point where you understand in your bones that the container and the light, the body and the soul, the klipa and the moach, are not two separate things. They are ultimately one single unified expression of the divine. And so I want to leave you with this question to carry with you. What if you could totally reframe your entire experience of life? What if every single shell, every challenge, every difficulty, every moment of darkness or confusion in your life is not actually an obstacle that's blocking your path? What if it is in fact a vessel, a klipa, perfectly designed and placed right there in front of you, just waiting for you to engage with it, to refine it, and to reveal the magnificent hidden light that is burning at its core? Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.